I'm a guy that flunked a lot of drug tests, bro. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Something's wrong, man. Somebody's got my pee, man. Where's my clean pee? Where's my clean pee?
All right, guys, welcome to an episode of Fully Loaded. My man, Chris Carter. How you doing, buddy?
Good, bro. What's happening?
He's ready to go, man. Hey, it's like afternoon. Tell us what you've done this morning so far. Give me your day.
Well, got up early.
Yeah.
And I've strained both of my hamstrings in the last few weeks. So
Okay.
I've been trying to recoup. So I went over with the FAU football team, worked out with them this morning.
What'd you do? Worked out in the gym?
No, we were running on the field today.
Got it.
Oh, it's super hot.
Okay.
Yeah, so hamstring still hurting. And then went and got a recovery, got a deep tissue, trying to rip it up out of there afterwards from 9 till 9:45. Then I went and got a cold plunge in and out that at my boy Johnny O's gym for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Then I showered there, went home, got the boots on, started doing some research on the stuff that you and I are doing.
Yeah.
My eyes closed. Wasn't sleeping, but my eyes closed. Wife came home and made lunch. Went upstairs, changed clothes.
Now you're here.
And I'm here.
So you and I were talking one day. We're talking about athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were talking about you still work out how many days a week?
Probably like 4 days a week.
4
real
days a
hard,
week.
yes.
Not everybody does that when their athletic career's over.
Yep.
Because y'all work. I mean, you worked out how many days a week when you were doing your deal?
Forever.
Forever.
Yes.
Since you were little.
Yes.
Since you're old enough to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys get to a certain age, they're like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with all that. Some guys not. How does that make you feel when you see dudes that are like, man, I played ball with you. Now you might not be able to like run around the backyard without passing out.
I mean, it's disappointing.
Is it?
Unless they have some really extenuating injuries and now with rehab
But if they're
and
healthy,
everything.
they're healthy enough where they can work out whenever they want, and they just choose not to.
Well, the thing about it, you know what's inside of them because of what they exhibited.
Yeah.
And then you're saying I'm not going to get any exercise between now and the time I die. So for one, it's irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that you have more than enough talent.
Correct.
And willpower, and you can organize it enough to be able to do that.
Correct.
But imagine the pressure that you're putting on other people around you because you're not going to take care of yourself. So ultimately, somebody's going to have to take care of you. Somebody's going to have to help you
True.
get around and everything.
True.
And I can understand there will be those people that do that, but for those of us that can avoid it, like I want to be trying to get around as much on my own, driving myself, taking care of myself as much as possible, taking care of my heart, taking care of my head, because there's a difference in being alive and then the quality of life. Like I really want to be able to enjoy it. You know, we went to Italy. I mean, me and my wife, we were marching up and down. Those cobblestones.
No, they don't play.
No, those churches, cathedrals,
A lot of walking.
music, a lot of walking.
Yeah.
But you're not going to enjoy simple things like that. And I just trying to stay active. I've been blessed. So trying to make sure that I take advantage of that blessing and continue it as I get older.
Got it.
That's all.
So we went to Valhalla. I went to Valhalla. I went to are you a big PGA guy?
Of course.
Okay. So we went. Did I tell you the story about Schiffer when he got arrested? Did I tell you what happened?
No.
So I'm driving there. This company I got said, hey, you need to come. We got the suite. Cool, we go. Well, it's in Kentucky. And the traffic line is like, dude, miles. So I do it. I'll pull to the left. I just go by all the traffic. And I pull up the front. Dude kind of does one of these. And I'm like, no, I don't even know what I do. And he lets me through. So I got me and my man, Andrew. We drive. As we keep going, he's like, yo, I don't think we're supposed to. We just keep. And we pull right up the front, clubhouse. And my man, what's the guy at ESPN? Got to be Marty, the guy that does the golf.
Marty, yes, Marty Smith.
I open the door. Marty's got his camera in my face.
Oh.
I was like, shit, what's going on? We walk inside, and then all of a sudden, people start to go like, golf, probably not. Okay, hey, man, you got some credentials. And I was like, no, man, I don't need credentials. And they're like, well, what are you doing here? I just kept driving up here, you know. Now, what I didn't know, then the guy come out, and he's like, oh, you got to go. And I was like, okay, dude, but like, I don't put my hands on you. You don't need to. I believe, but all I did was do what y'all allowed me to do. You want me to leave this, but don't put my hands on you. Well, I didn't realize that they must have, because the only way, Scheffler pulled in right behind us in an SUV, and they probably assumed that's him. So they had is it TPC in Cromwell, Connecticut this past weekend, PGA
Yes.
event. Mm-hmm. And towards the end of the event, I've never seen this before. Maybe you have. People stormed they got in, and they attacked the green, I guess, with dumped stuff on it, paint. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
First of all, what's weird to me is you've been to a lot of PGA events.
Yes.
Did you see the people that ran to the green?
Yes.
Did they seem like they were that hard to catch or stop from running to the green?
Well, no, they were just stationed there like a sign mob. Like, and they were just waiting for the right time to get the sign, and then they were gonna, yes. But I mean, law enforcement, I don't know how often they have to pass a physical test, but that
Did
initial
you see that? Okay, that first of all, shouldn't you have to? I mean, that is party. I mean, like, dude, I watched.
Well, this is one thing with law enforcement. Their job is tough enough.
100%.
God forbid if I want them to be in shape. God forbid.
That is true.
I mean,
But you
I would
saw him
much
trying to
rather
stop
them
him.
be in some type of shape than to. I mean, all the things they have to deal with psychologically now, are not fit for police officers to deal with. So their job is already tough enough.
Correct. But you watch them watch them on TV.
No, that is not their strength. When they cannot pull you over, they can't shine the lights on you, they can't get close enough to taser you.
There was not a lot of lateral movement.
No, when you take their systems away from them, not real powerful.
Which, as an athlete, golf, I assume in football, y'all didn't worry too much about that because the fans didn't stand a chance. Y'all in full gear and then come running on the field, right? Was that ever a concern of yours during the game that some fan was gonna?
Well, we always go over these things.
You do.
And they are very frightening.
When they come on.
Yes.
Okay.
Because people forget I'm at work. Mm-hmm. Like, I got a level of concentration going on. I'm at work. And a lot of times people in situations get hurt out of fear. And if an athlete, if anyone was getting near them, and, I grew up in the era where actually Monica Seles was actually stabbed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I remember.
It has happened. It has been rare, but people have to be able to provide security for you to be able to do your job. And that's what they stopped those guys. And you're talking about millions of dollars.
Correct.
Difference between first, second, and third, you're talking about millions of dollars. So the pressure that they were on because the actual score that was going on, who could win? Scheffler going for one of the monumental seasons in golf history.
Yeah.
6 wins before July 1st. Like, incredible stuff. But the fear, and Scheffler, I listened to his interview, we feel out of place. Like, we don't know what to do. We don't know if we should move or should we chase them. Like, my theory was always, I'm not going to get involved.
So your deal
I've had a couple times people have come into the huddle and stuff like that. I'm not going to get involved.
You're on the field
Yes.
in the offensive huddle,
Yes.
and some dude comes rolling up and he's in.
Yes. And the other guys are like, man, I'm going to jack him up. I'm going to tackle him. No, I'm not getting ready to do nothing. I'm
You
not.
just wait for him to leave.
I'm going to wait for someone to come do their
Remove
job
him.
so I can get back to doing my job.
So wouldn't it make sense when you look around the arena? I'm a path of least resistance kind of guy, and I go to a lot of games. And if I'm an idiot who drinks too much and wants to become part of the game, and I see 2 dudes that I could outrun with my eyes closed, because if they looked like, because some of them dudes they're ripped, they're young, like, don't go over there to 302. As I watch, I've been to baseball games where they've run on the field. I don't think I've ever seen anybody run on the court in basketball, which would seem pretty easy. Do you remember anybody
No,
run?
I think basketball is probably the least. We've seen it in football. We've seen Super Bowls.
Why don't we see it in basketball?
I think because the proximity of the court, and there's so many people within proximity. And I would say that security in basketball, especially the NBA, is closer to the court than any other.
Smaller to police, too. Easier to grab them when they come in.
And they're a little more attentive to the game than the other officers typically are watching the crowd. Now, I don't know what they're watching, but they're watching the crowd.
up,
Typically, their back is to the action.
because they just had it. Ronaldo, and I also realize a lot of those guys have private security.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
rolling, like game day.
Oh,
which
yeah.
means they're basically saying, I need to protect my guy.
Oh, no, the stars in the NBA, now NFL, I haven't seen any NFL players with extra security. I mean, our greatest players, I haven't seen them. I typically see the normal security that the team has in place, but the NBA, back to Michael Jordan. Like
Private security.
Yes.
At the game.
Yeah, at the game, sitting
Watch.
on the bench, right?
If somebody
Either on
comes,
the
gets
end of the bench or in that second row or third row behind
That
the
was
bench.
Jordan's guy.
Shaq, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and there's a number of guys now that have their own personal security, and they have negotiated these into the NFL contracts.
Really?
Yes.
Where it's
Because I know LeBron, when he negotiated with Miami, it was very, very different than the situation he had in Cleveland, where he just had free access. His dudes could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Pat Riley was like, no, that's not going to happen.
you ain't running this whole thing. Yeah, we need some rules.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
those guys.
So they put security in place, and because one incident, it's a wrap. So whatever they're paying for it, it's worth.
Got it. So your thought, had you ever seen a fan get smoked by a player?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What was the best hit you've seen on a player on a fan?
I've seen people get tackled, especially in NFL, because you got a helmet on,
Yeah.
you got pads and stuff on, and you can really wipe somebody out. But I wouldn't inject myself into that, because it's just not worth it. And you don't know, people could have something on. If they have decided I'm getting ready to come onto the field,
Right.
how do I know what they have decided that what they won't do that day?
You don't.
So no, it's a very, very scary situation, and everyone deserves the right to be able to do their job and do it in a climate that is conducive to them doing their job.
Because when you go watch an NFL game on the sidelines or a big time Power 5 college program, you realize how violent that shit is.
Yes.
If you've never, because like when I used to watch them from the stands, it's hard to tell. For me, it was. I was like, yo, it's quick. But when you get down and like, yo, I'm on the field today, and it's like, damn, I got to pay attention. Like, these dudes can. And if a fan's made that decision, he don't care about his own safety.
No.
Because he's like, I'm going into that mess.
No.
So, staying in the NFL, I was listening to Stephen A. talk about that. All my buddies sent it to me, and everybody wants an opinion on it. And so I had to watch this interview, and I want your take, because I know you can shoot me straight. Matthew Stafford's at Georgia, dating a girl at Georgia. They marry and have a beautiful family. And then somehow recently she come out and was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I was with his backup. Like, I was hooking up with his backup to get him to pay more attention to me, she says. I mean, I want to be with him. Mm-hmm. Number one, I want your thoughts on that in general, but also the interview. Like, I guess for me, when somebody said, what's your opinion? I'm like, that's their life. But I don't know what purpose telling that story served today. But as a dude, as a player, NFL guy, Chris Carter's wife comes out and says, hey, man, I want to let you know his backup over there, I was hooking up with him. What was your initial reaction to that?
Immediately, it changes the dynamic in the locker room.
Okay.
Of what we think about him.
Huh.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there is a certain understanding. And, I've been in the public eye. I've done a lot of interviews that didn't necessarily go the way I want. I've been in TV a long time. And sometimes when you tell stories, you necessarily don't get the mark. Like one time I told stories about, in the era when there were bounties in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I told a story about how we did it in Minnesota. And it happens that one of our offensive linemen, who's a Hall of Famer, he's also a school teacher. And the way it hit for him being a school teacher in Minnesota compared to being on Mike and Mike on ESPN, it hits totally different.
Was that something he reached out to you about?
Oh, no, he absolutely reached out to me.
Really?
And, I love the dude to death. He was just like, I don't live in that world, Chris.
Got it.
Like, I live in a different world. I get it. Because at that time, too, the NFL was thinking about sanctions on the Saints,
Yeah.
and they were getting ready to penalize them. And I was like, man, this has been going on in the league for years.
Yeah, we all knew about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so I totally understood. And, you know, I've been married and able to try to tell stories. And sometimes the people close to you, my mother has been offended. My ex-wife, she's been offended by stories and everything. And it goes with trying to tell a story and trying to thread the needle. Like, I don't know what she was trying to do. In every instance where I messed up, I literally had a plan in place.
It just didn't go the right way.
It just didn't work. It just didn't work. Now, I don't know what she's trying to accomplish. Now, because I've covered the league, I've covered her whole career.
Okay.
And her whole career really just started when Matthew got traded to LA.
So before that, when he's in Detroit,
We knew nothing about it.
didn't really know her. Okay.
Now, he goes to Detroit and wins the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, they've had some things go on in their family, and she's had, you know, some health issues that create a story for her. So I think that she has kind of generated this audience or a fan base. And if you are going to entertain people or talk to people, you have to come up with new material. So guess what? I ran out of stuff. So now I'm getting ready to tell you about what happened. Now, you and I both know, because we are dudes, there is nothing smarter on this earth than a woman.
100%.
And women been running games on dudes and not telling them. She ran a game on him, but she told us.
All of us.
She told us. This is what happened. Now, what makes it so troubling to me is telling the story at the time or telling it in a way that we wouldn't, because everyone's assuming she's sleeping with this dude.
Correct. That's
Because she didn't say that. Hey, I'm fooling around with him.
That's
like
the way it works.
Man, like,
The story isn't led back in the day to get her husband's attention before she was with her husband. It was, you assume they're together now, or she's doing something wrong.
And I know Matthew Stafford, Christian guy, Texas guy, #1 high school player, bro. Okay.
Stud.
At Georgia. Stud. Going to be a superstar. And by the way, I'm looking into her future. She's sitting there dating the backup. This dude is also going to be the first pick in the NFL draft, because I'm just foretelling into the future. Okay. So, #1 high school player. #1 player in the draft. Oh, I'm getting ready to get his attention because he ain't giving me the time of the day. He told me I ain't about that. Like, I ain't trying to
I'm
be
good.
sick.
I'm going to date around. We ain't going to be exclusive.
Right. Now, I went to Ohio State, man. At the time, Ohio State had 27,000 women undergraduates, 52,000 total. So we had 27,000 women. And like when I got to college, probably a lot like Matthew Stafford, I wasn't concerned about the 27,000, but there was a handful of them that,
You were concerned about.
yeah, I was concerned about.
100%. Not everybody, but
I was concerned about. So, in Matthew's concern in trying to be a college football player, trying to be a student athlete, and checking out the field, she didn't do it for him. Now, Matthew is such a good guy. She's parked over the guys because they live in the same dorm. The athletes live in the same dorm.
Yeah,
So
like
she's
she literally
parked over
could
there. So
see.
she's parked
Yeah.
so he can see the car.
correct. He knows. She called him a bad boy. Everybody knew he was a bad boy.
The backup is a jerk.
Yeah.
So Matt goes to her and was like, you know, what you're doing is wrong. But he's the wrong guy to be doing it with.
Yeah.
He even tries to do her another solid. Like, he's a jerk. Like,
Correct.
Like,
I'm
you
looking
deserve,
out for you.
Yeah, like you deserve better
Yes.
than this. So in the process, they end up getting back together some type of way. When a woman wants to put the hooks in you, like, there ain't nothing you're going to be able to do. It's just a matter of time before the meat's ready.
Yep.
So to me, all those things, they kind of tell a tale of her. And then now at this point in their career, they've won a Super Bowl. He's made over $200 million. Like, why would I do anything to not empower my guy, especially in an environment like an NFL locker room? The last couple of years, the Rams have lost key leadership, offensive line. Now they lose Aaron Donald on the defense. So from a leadership standpoint, when they start the season, this is how they start. Like,
so what are the dudes thinking in the locker room now?
We can't help but still, we ain't going to forget what she said. And then all the times and stuff that's around that, you just govern yourself accordingly. Like, you got to be careful because there are women that are married to stars that they want their piece of stardom. And they're going to get it. Like
Either
raising
way.
the kids and stuff is enough. Like making all that money is not enough. They are going to get it some kind of way. And to me, she injected herself into the NFL story. And she didn't have to.
What do you think his conversation was if you had to get? I mean, you know Matthew a little bit.
Because when you've been the first pick, and then also what he went through in Detroit, like he's been through some tough stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there was a conversation, and he is a world-class guy.
Yeah.
Like he is a world-class guy. And I think that the guys in the locker room, because they've known him long enough, and then also, man, when we have partners and stuff that are outspoken, it's not like there's not going to be any wives and stuff outspoken. You typically have 3 or 4 of them
100%.
that keep stuff going. They keep stuff going, and their husbands got guaranteed contracts, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so, that's part of being on the ball club.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, they got it in the clubhouse. NBA, they got it in the locker room.
Yep.
Nothing you could do about it. And obviously, the NFL, we could have denied it until she said something, but we got it. And she's part of that.
I don't see the win in that, but
I remember a number of years ago when Kurt Warner was like, he was ascending to be one of the great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
His wife called into a radio show to complain about what people were saying about him.
I remember.
And the way she did it and just supporting her husband and everything, now this is totally the opposite side.
Correct. Like, I thought she was badass when she did that. I remember that.
Yes.
I'm like, that woman is not playing. She has that dude's back.
Yes.
And this is the opposite.
Total opposite.
This ain't having his back.
No.
All right, so you used to speak to the rookies a lot.
Yeah.
NFL, you did your thing. And it happens all the time, but I want to ask you. So Lonnie Phelps, undrafted dude, Browns, DUI, done, gone, over, you're out of the league. Do guys understand, like I think I understood at a really young age that performance and production would dictate the enforcement on rules on some level kind of deal. Like that made sense to me. Like they'd be like, yo, they're going to suspend him. I'm like, no, they're not. Dude, they're not. He runs for 240 yards a game. He's a pretty good, like, do guys understand, and I'm not saying you get all this money and guaranteed and you're this, but do dudes that are not drafted and get signed as free agents, are they not aware that they're one tiny, and that's not, I'm not, DUI is awful. I've been sober, you've been sober, like nobody should do that. Do they understand who they are sometimes or don't understand that, like, you're already barely in there, don't F it up?
I think the hierarchy, it's understandable. When you come in and the way they set up the depth charts, the way they set up the locker room, the way they set up the practices, the reps in the practices, who lifts weights, what time, like you're on, because you got the worst times, you got the worst situations.
So those guys are lifting
Yes.
times nobody wants to.
Yes, absolutely.
And what time? First thing in the morning for everybody.
6 a.m. They got the
6 a.m.
first.
is you.
They got the first sheets.
Gotta get your ass out of bed at 4:30, 5, get over there.
And the starters are rolling in like 7:30 or 8.
Got
Then
it.
they lift to 9. You have a team meeting at 9. But
Okay.
they know the whole time. But sports is a hierarchy even from little league.
Correct.
Like you always know. Like, who's
100%.
first team? Oh, I'm second team. I'm backing him up. Okay, I'm behind him. Okay, I'm starter. Okay, who's my backup? Okay, you always know. And there's things that we say like the opportunity for everyone to succeed is the same. Everyone's talent level is not the same.
Correct.
But the opportunity for everyone to get a gold jacket, it's the same until you mess up. Now, say for instance, if I was in the situation I was in Philadelphia, where Buddy Ryan had decided that because of cocaine or because of drinking, that he was going to cut me. Now, I had already started 34 straight games in the NFL. But if I was a backup, my career might have been over with.
Yeah, true. Didn't think about that.
So if I was a backup, you got less rope.
Correct.
You got less things that you can do that they're going to tolerate.
Do not understand that?
They understand it, but that don't mean you're going to get it right.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time we had a receiver, and he was from Howard University, and he didn't think he was going to make the team. So, you know, you do a lot of stupid stuff in the locker room because you have idle time.
So understanding that guys, and that doesn't mean they'll act right, but they understand the hierarchy. Wait times your guy at Howard. He's in the locker room playing out with June Moss. He's thinking it might not make the team.
Right. I mean, we got myself, Jake Reed, Randy Moss, Chris Wall, special teams. But no, he's
probably
not.
Pretty good thought he wasn't going to make the team.
Right. And we were like the second preseason game. I think that year we were playing 5 preseason games.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of stupid stuff. So someone brought up the idea of, because we had like 2,000 fans like right outside the locker room in between the walkway between there and practice.
For practice.
Yeah. So guys, somebody posed to him, hey man, would you ride your bicycle through 2,000 fans with a jock strap on? You know, like
somebody posed to him?
For $1,000. Somebody did. Someone in the room. Yeah. Now, I'm just listening. I'm just minding my business. Training camp. You're bored. It's hot. You know, you're trying to pass the time. So they started passing the hat. They were like, okay, who's got $500? So me and Moss endorsed the project.
Wasn't your idea. You just endorsed it.
It wasn't our idea. We endorsed it.
You supported it financially.
Right. We put a couple $1,000 with it. So the guy made a calculated business decision. He's like, because I told him before, I said, don't do this.
You did.
I told him.
Okay.
I said, don't do this.
Because I'm putting money in, but don't do it.
Yes. I'm willing to lose
Correct.
the $1,000 for the entertainment, but don't do this.
Take it from me.
Because what he had to do was get on one of the kids' bicycles, 10-speed bicycle.
Jock strap.
Only. Yeah, and he had like a half gray T-shirt.
Might as well be jock strap only.
Right. Bruh rolled through the crowd, pedaling. Now, we had the half shirt on, thinking that maybe, like if he didn't stop and everything, maybe, you know, like they wouldn't recognize it. So somebody had put a little extra. He had to go through the crowd. Then he had to go 2 blocks, go to the hall where we were staying, Gage Hall, touch the front desk, and come back.
On the bicycle.
On the bicycle. He's like, oh, man, I got this. I'm going to do it real quick. Bam. Went through with people. The people were cheering. They were cheering. Goes down the dormitory, comes back, comes in the locker room. Man, we give him the money. Guys are like, oh, yeah. Oh, man, great. We go to lunch. When I'm coming up the steps, Dennis Green sees me. He's like this. So I go over to his table. He said, no need to discuss. I know you and Moss took part in that young man getting on that bicycle. I said, Coach, we took part in it, but I told him, if you get on that bicycle, Dennis Green will cut you.
Yeah.
So he said, you told him that? I said, yeah. He said, okay, don't say nothing to no one else. So we go through the second practice, go through the day, go to the team meeting, the night meeting. He has a guy stand up and dismiss him from the team.
From the whole team?
Yep.
What do you say?
You can leave.
Just that's it? Yeah. Thanks, stand up, you're out.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
If you want to bank your NFL career, and what are you going to go back and tell your college coach and your family of the one NFL try you had, how you got cut? And I was like, wow. I mean, but I was like, man, he's stupid.
Well, he was. He was stupid.
But guys, even though they know, they still will not be able to toe the line enough. But his thing, what he was saying was, hey, Chris, we got 3 weeks left. As a rookie, I'm making like $500 a week. That's $1,500 if I make it to the end. If I ride the bike, I make $3,000 cash, no taxes. I was like, hey, bro, I got to respect the hustle.
But also the downside is, bro, you ain't not getting another chance.
No. And you're not going to be able to tell this story. Like, because there's a lot of, even if you get cut, there's so many guys, man, I had an NFL tryout, man, it was great. I was there 6 weeks. It's like, you can take that with you.
He can't take the jock strap with him.
Nah.
It's a tough story to tell.
Nah.
Dennis Green. So, all right. So we talked recently about steroids, HGH, and I was reading the list earlier, trying to figure out what's banned and what's not. And I did not realize that you need like 2 PhDs to figure out like what's banned.
Yes.
So Martinez, this kid, the Blue Jays, got 22 years old, got an 80-game suspension, and he states, per what he has, that it was a fertility medication.
Yeah.
Him and his wife trying to have a baby, not been so successful. Let's take the drug. Number one, do you believe that that's true? And is this list so sports-wide, so confusing? There's shit that people take that they may or may not be taking because it helps them, but nobody knows it's not like HGH or steroids. Like,
But it's amazing how 99.5% of all the guys get it right.
Got it.
And then
so is he not telling the truth?
I'm just gonna put out
95%.
Yeah, 99.5% of all the guys get it right. And if we are going to be making that type of money, the thing that I would do, the thing that I did, like Dr. Lombardo, he used to be the drug czar over the NFL. He also used to be associated with Ohio State as one of their doctors. He's also been involved in Olympic training, Olympic testing. Now, I knew him from my days at Ohio State. So when the league started cracking down, and I used to have a guy who used to make my supplements.
Make them. Okay.
I would pass everything right to the doctor. These are the ingredients.
He would test. Oh, he'd go, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, because there's too much at risk. You can't wait till the back end, get popped, get a positive test, then try to come back in circle and be like, oh, I want to. No. This is what people doing shows like this. This is what they don't understand. In your contract, it tells you you are 100% responsible for everything that goes in your body. So unless you get something respiratory,
somebody kidnapped you and drugged you,
you're responsible for it. So why would you be taking any type of chances on any? And some of the PEDs in the past have been around these fertility drugs. This is not the first guy that's gotten popped like that. There are guys that are cheating, that are using a version of that, and there are guys out there really trying to have kids and stuff. So, but as a Major League Baseball player, I'm going to do the over-under. I'm going to do the research to make sure that anything that I'm getting ready to take in my body, has anyone ever tested positive for that before? And to me, based on the salary where I'm at in my career, I'm getting ready to tell my wife, you're going to have to wait on this baby because I got to make these dollars.
Correct.
Okay?
I can't play with this.
Like, I can't take the chance.
Your doctor says, no, man, can't take it. You might get popped.
What's wrong with that? We got all this life ahead of us. Like,
well, I think the struggle when you're 22 and that's your excuse, it's like, I'm not trying to be that, but like bro, you're 22. The odds that you probably can't.
I was gonna get on that later on.
I'm not like you're 22 years old, bro. I don't know how old she is, but like y'all like 22. Like if you can't, like even if it was true,
right?
You got all your life,
right? I know the insurance in these leagues is good. I know people want to have free kids and stuff, but wait, bro,
But at 22 is a little crazy.
What's the rush?
Was there ever anything back in the day like y'all that got things that would come up that got banned along the way? Like, you know, we used to take it here and
yes.
Like what? Give me an big
especially you have to be careful because, you know, we grew up in the 80s and 80s was more of a speed.
Correct.
You know, so people were looking to get
100%.
Something to go up.
100%. A lot of ball players did.
So I just think that, you know, there were like these things called like black beauties.
Yep.
Like, so, you know, things like that. And then there was something too called uptime.
Yeah.
And it was an upper. And there was another thing, I think it was before Rip Fuel, but it was like Rip Fuel.
Yeah.
And then there was these things, man, that there was these things mini thins, these things that you could take, and they open up. They were like for asthma, but they open up your allow you to breathe.
Really?
Man, let me tell you something, bro.
You love some mini thins?
You could get them like at a truck stop station. It'd be like you got all this fine food and everything, but hey, I need my pregame. I need to go to the truck stop station.
I get my mini thins.
So,
but they worked.
Oh no, there are little things that will give you, if you can get more oxygen, if you can allow your muscles to stay relaxed, if you can give yourself a boost of energy in a competition, all those things are going to give you a competitive edge. Yes.
Crazy. Well, and I think also let me add, this is just something that made me think. I think of like Ryan Braun and some other dudes who went through this whole thing, and I think I've always been my mom taught me, like, everybody's gonna screw up. Literally everybody's gonna screw up. Like, there's like, she pounded me when I was young that nobody's perfect. And a lot of it was for her was biblically based. Like, here are all the people, look what Jesus did. Like, everybody's messed up. And when you make a mistake, just go, yeah, I made a mistake. That's one of the things I've always liked when we first met, because what you see is what you get. And I like that.
I try.
Well, you do. You're successful.
I mean,
I like that. And, the things you're imperfect about, like, I do that. People are like, give me advice on this. I'm like, dude, I never gave him advice on that. How would I know how to do that?
Right.
They'll get up on stage and be like, he gave me the greatest advice on how to be the greatest husband the rest of my life. And I'm like, how would I know? Like, I've been divorced twice. Same with, like, how would I'm trying to figure it out? You've always been that way with me. And everybody I've ever talked to says the same thing about you. What is the thought process when guys get popped and they think, shit, I'm going to go, the guy tainted my sample, and then ruin that guy's life, or it was a fertility drug, or like, I get it's human nature, but as people, we're pretty forgiving.
I don't think it's human nature. I think it's a guy thing. Guys lie to the guy. Women don't.
Okay.
Women typically don't do that. When you get them jammed up.
Yeah, they say yeah.
But we as a species, man, will take it forever.
So they're like, I'm going to keep saying this. It don't make no damn sense, but I'm going down with the ship. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
And it's just to me, it's a character flaw. Mm-hmm. Because I know tomorrow I'm going to be better. 100%. Like, I know next year's version of myself is a better version of this guy, because I want him to be, and I'm working at it. And if I find something along the way, it's so much easier now, and I can say that now, so it's so much easier now to be like, hey, you know something? I messed that up. Like, try to get that right. But as you get older, you have to make sure as a male that you keep doing that, checking yourself, because if not, you'll fall into what everyone else is into, and you're not getting any better. Like the lie, and then you have to keep telling lies around the lie. Like, imagine he could be in the news now helping guys out now, but
100%.
Because he lied, he can't. He's not part of it.
No.
Like, he can't be involved at all.
No. Like, Andy Pettit could go, yeah, dude, here's what I did. Now, should you tell, but for your own stuff, yes, man, took whatever I took. Here's why I took it.
Yes.
I own it. My bad. Knew it was illegal. Didn't pretend to think it wasn't.
Yes.
He had to hand some shit. Here's how long I used it. Shouldn't have done it.
Right.
Boom. Like, you don't need to say nothing about anybody else, but, like, your stuff. And people go, oh, okay. And then people go, like, no, I didn't do that. You're like, yeah, dude, like, you look like fucking Sasquatch. You were tiny. You're huge. We know you did. It's okay.
Right.
I didn't do that. And I think that's what this smelled like. Dude, you got 80 games. They don't think you did it. 80 games.
And with the backup samples, man, like the way the testing is now, where you're like, oh, well, test me again. No. They split
Like,
that
you're
sample.
good. Yeah, they have
They
everything.
split that sample. And
They don't play that game anymore.
No.
We got you.
No, and then they have the numbers and everything to match up with it. Like, I'm a guy that flunked a lot of drug tests, bro. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Something's wrong, man. Somebody's got my pee, man. Where's my clean pee? Where's my clean pee? Where my pee at?
I hear you.
I flunked some drug tests, dog.
Yeah.
Man, I remember at Ohio State, the first drug test they gave us was going to the Rose Bowl. and a bunch of, like 20-something of us came up positive before the Rose Bowl. It wasn't the bowl game, it was the university. So we had a probationary period that when we went to the Rose Bowl, we were confined to our rooms for the first 5 days.
Really? Everybody that flunked?
Yeah.
You had to sit in your room 5 days?
Yeah.
Got it. Did y'all sit in your room 5 days?
We sat in our room 5 days, but we did, when we landed, we got our rental cars and we went to Crenshaw Park.
Then went to your rooms for 5 days.
And then we went to our room for 5 days, dog. I was MVP of the game. I was fresh as a daisy.
You were ready to go? Dude, it is what it is, man.
So, bro, I have flunked some drug tests.
Yeah.
So it's not my. That's a male thing.
Correct.
Like that really, and it really taps into a male at his worst. Mm-hmm. Like all the evidence, I ain't do it.
Yeah, like there's no dispute.
Like I didn't do it.
Correct.
And because of his character flaw, he can't admit to it.
Correct.
Like that's disgusting.
I'm gonna go down with a ship.
Like this is not like these things are not worth dying for.
Mm-mm. You don't want to die in that hill, bro.
Yeah,
like you just don't.
Like I mean, I had a situation where some people from, like when I was from my hometown, were trying to accuse me of something, and I was telling my wife, listen, this is not the lie to die for.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And matter of fact, I don't even know the situation, the one to die for. Like, but this is not it.
This isn't it.
No.
Well, first of all, I always appreciate what you have to share because it's different and it's real and it's raw and it ain't got. I always like when you're talking to people and they're giving the information because they want to give you the information. They ain't bobbing, ducking, weaving. They're just giving it to you, bro. So, listen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fully Loaded. Catch us on the next one. Like, subscribe, share. You don't want to miss Chris Carter. You don't want to miss his takes. You don't want to hear what he's going to say because people will come for the information, but they'll stay for the friggin' entertainment. He's got both, so appreciate y'all.